Wow.
Thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Harris, what do you do? Like, what's your job?
I am a cinematographer and gaffer. I do a whole bunch of things, but I'd say those are the two main things I like to do. I also work grip, electric side, other camera positions on set.
And so you're doing that freelance, right?
Yeah.
So you're not like at one show or production.
Yeah, it's completely different productions, a huge gambit of projects of just different kinds.
Spanning what kind of things?
Whether that be short films, music videos, feature films, documentary, commercial, all sorts of stuff. I've worked on like live streaming stuff,
Oh, that's cool.
like some events. Yeah, just kind of anything and everything you could imagine filming.
Do you feel like, because I don't know, I feel like I've had the privilege to be on like one thing for, I know what I'm doing now because I've been doing one show essentially for 2 years. How has that been for you, constantly kind of figuring out what the project is? And because you're not working with the same directors and producers every time, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, I do work with a lot of the same people because I feel like a lot of people that work freelance tend to call a lot of the same people that they work with, just if you develop relationships. But yeah, it's definitely a lot of different people in charge, and the projects are so just very different. I really enjoy that, I'd say. Like that's actually a plus to me. I think it's really nice to work on so many different things. Like to me, I think actually it might even get boring. Like if I had to see the same setup every time. Like I really love that I show up to work every day and there's a different problem to tackle with every project, which is really cool. And I think I really grow and learn from that.
I feel like some people want like job stability, and like I know people who do freelance too in a different capacity, more like crew, and like our show isn't filming every day of the year, so like they have to find other shows to work on. Like, do you think that's kind of a burden sometimes, or are you?
It's a push and it's all this is just a push and a pull, It's like when it's slow, it's the most stressful thing of all time. Every year at Christmas, I'm convinced that I'm never going to work again, and it's never true. But I'm convinced of that.
Yeah.
Like this June, I'm going to Europe for the first time for a month.
Really?
And it's like, yeah. And
that's
it's
sick.
Like, I wouldn't be able to do that if I had a job I had to report back to every day.
That's true.
I have a lot more flexibility in my schedule, which is nice, but it comes with the drawback of of the anxiety of not having work.
Hey, wait, so where are you going?
I'm going to go to Spain, France, Italy, Greece. And it's 4 weeks.
Those are the best countries.
4 countries.
4 weeks, 4 countries?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I like truly know nothing. I have only bought the flight. That's the only thing I have right now.
Dang, okay. Spain is amazing, but I studied abroad in Barcelona. So
no, I didn't know that.
I lived there for like almost 6 months.
You go to Madrid?
I went a couple times.
Which one do you like more?
I'm biased. I think Barcelona is much nicer because it's on the beach and there's a mountain. And Barcelona is a more robust culture, I think, because of Catalan or Catalunya.
Yeah, see, I don't know.
Catalonia is a province in Spain. And it's been trying to secede from the Spanish government for the past many years now. And they have their own language.
What?
It's like Quebec. Catalan is the language that's in Catalonia. And it's like a mix of Spanish, Italian, Portuguese, and French. And it's this beautiful language. It's a very local language. And so I loved it, but what sucked was I would go and I minored in Spanish and I was really good at it. But I would go up to them and speak Spanish. But if you're going up to someone and speaking Spanish there, you're obviously not a local.
Yeah.
So, and then I obviously don't look like a local. So they'll just be speaking to me in English.
Catalonia is the area?
Catalunya, it's like California. It's like a state. So if California had its own language and it was trying to secede from the US.
That's wild.
It's much smaller than that. But yeah, I mean, I recommend Barcelona.
Yeah.
You can't go wrong. Job-wise, I guess usually when I interview people, I'm like, oh, how'd you find your job now? Yeah. But you don't have one current job. Yeah. I guess my question would be how do I find a job? How do you find a job consistently, I guess?
That's the age-old question. I don't know. The way I found work was, now I get work just I have 4 to 7, and this is a different job. I don't do the same job for all these people, but 4 to 7 people that will hit me up consistently.
Oh, that's cool.
That we just work together a bunch. And now it's kind of, I'll just get a call. That's usually if I'm working on the electric side, the lighting crews. In terms of cinematography, I'm trying to figure that question out myself all the time. How can I meet new directors to work with? But if there's meetups where film people will just all come together and talk about there's one that was just about the state of the music video industry right now, and it's like they have some speakers, and then I think there's just like little bits of time after to like just kind of meet and
Networking panel kind of thing.
it's like it's a networking thing, but it's also like a panel where people come and answer questions. Yeah, I'm constantly trying to meet new directors, like even on set. You never know, it could be a PA or the production designer. They all, secretly want to direct. And like, you never know. Yeah, I've met a bunch of people who, they're doing some other job just like me, like maybe I'm working as Best Boy Electric on set that day, and I meet the production designer who wants to actually direct, and they have a script. Yeah, it just happens organically like that sometimes. I've been lucky enough to have some friends who are friends first, thankfully, become directors, and we work together consistently now. I'd say in terms of, I guess, like how I got my start with all the crew work I do, like the electric side and the gaffing stuff, that was a wild situation.
Okay, let's hear it.
Well, I mean, I think I had a unique and lucky situation, but I think maybe pieces might apply to other people. I'm not sure. So I graduated college in 2020.
Yeah, same time as me.
Immediately went into COVID. I went to Chapman and Orange, so pretty easy enough for me to just move home. Like I just moved straight home after.
We were very lucky, both of us.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't have to pay rent. I didn't have to pay for my food. I was very I paid for my car insurance, but like that was nice. It. And my gas, it's like anything that was at home was covered, I was very lucky to have.
Yeah, sorry. Well, I was just like, out of all the things you could have paid for, you paid for your car insurance.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I kind of understand it. It's like anything outside of the house, I covered. Most of my friends that wanted to do freelance work that went to Chapman with me, the film school, had to go, like a lot of people had to go home. And for them, home was not LA. I mean, a lot of them, unfortunately, didn't get to, a lot of them now are happy doing whatever they're doing now, but a lot of them didn't get to experience trying out freelance because of that, which sucks. And I was very lucky to move home, and I took it was probably the first 8 months of living at home to build up freelance work, connections, and people that would hire me consistently, and it was slow. Like I worked for free in the beginning, then I worked for minimum wage on these 12-hour days, which is not a ton of money for that labor, and yeah, it took a long time. But in terms of how I started, truly started to get work in the first place, I kind of just found cinematographers that I liked and directors that I liked on Instagram. I liked their work.
Oh.
And I DM'd them and just hit them up and just asked, I saw this advice on YouTube. I literally was looking up how to find how to get on set. Yeah. It was just offer to shoot photos or something to help.
Anything.
Yeah. And I think that advice was more catered to someone that didn't have some set experience. I was lucky enough again at Chapman to have it felt like a natural next step after I graduated.
Yeah, you went to a really good film school in Chapman.
Yeah. It taught me enough that when I got on set, I was like, okay, I know what I'm doing. It was a little more unique for me that I could offer to not only do behind the scenes photos, but I also offered to be a grip or be an electric, for free. And truly, I joke, I tell him this. His name is Lucas, a cinematographer. He's the first guy that I DM'd that was screw it, just come out for free, work as a grip. And I was so thankful. It's crazy. It's just rolling the dice, and I got lucky, pretty much. I went out on set for Lucas. I met the gaffer there. His name was Chad.
Chad.
He's a really cool dude. This is where I'm going. He quit making fun of my friend Chad, bro.
Chad, bro.
Chad owned and ran a rental house for lighting. And Chad was very well connected in the music video industry. And we hit it off, and I was still pretty green. I was new to everything. But Chad took a chance on me, and he hired me. I'm trying to tell you something.
My bad. Chad, okay.
Basically, all I'm trying to say is Lucas's set was where I met the first person who then took a chance on me, I went to his set, and then somebody else there took a chance on me, and it just kept compounding and pounding and pounding on itself. And now when I see Lucas, every time I'm like, dude, you're the only reason I have any work ever at all. A lot of the work I do now has nothing to do with my education at all.
That's crazy to hear, yeah. Is even though you went to film school.
Yeah. I'd say the first year and a half of freelance work, I didn't see one other person I knew from school.
Wow, that's crazy. Do you feel like if, say, you thought about that a year before you graduate and you were starting to do free work you were doing after college, during college, do you think that would be beneficial to people? Or do you think just focus on college, do college, and then do that?
Oh no, I mean, if you experience as much as you can, like do whatever you can do. Yeah. I don't look back at college as something I shouldn't have done at all. I'm very glad I went to college and I'm glad I finished it. And I think it taught me a lot about socializing and being a normal person around people. Like,
which is so important, I feel like, on set. Like I noticed this too, where it's like, you know, at the end of the day, your skills are something that you grow into and you like figure out eventually, even if at the very beginning of the day or the first day of your job, you might not be the expert or the best at it, but like if you're like a pleasure to work with,
totally
fun to just talk to.
Yeah.
And that happens in my job too. They want you back because you're literally there with them for 12 hours at a time.
Totally.
You don't want to be with someone who you don't like or it's really boring to talk to. Oh, well, I had other question. Kind of going back to like your very early days where you DM people on Instagram. Where did you find those cinematographers? Because like if I was like, okay, I'm gonna DM some cinematographers, like I have no idea where to start. Like, I would know, I can find out like the most famous ones that are, you know, being nominated for the Oscars or something, but like, and they're probably not going to respond, right? So like, how did you find Lucas? I guess that's like another question.
That's interesting.
Because I don't know who Lucas is, but
yeah.
You know, I mean, sure, he's amazing at what he does, but like, he's not like this.
Yeah, he's not. I know what you mean. Like, totally, that's a very fair question. And actually, I think that's something that I am also asking myself about directors. It's like where there's no directory of directors that like are at my level working on the same types of projects that I want to work on. Because like you said, I can go find frickin' Christopher Nolan.
Yeah.
But he doesn't want to work with me. It's like, it's interesting. You have to find somebody that needs your skills specifically at your level. It's a very tough thing to do. For when I was starting out just trying to find crew work, I actually went to, it's a website called ShareGrid. It's a rental website, and I'd used it in college a bunch to rent equipment for like student films. They had recently created a directory of cinematographers and just like people to hire, essentially. Like, or you could just post like, so for example, I own a camera. I could go onto ShareGrid and list the camera for rental, but you can also list yourself as a cinematographer and as a director or whatever you are, and people can find you on there. I don't think many people go on there to do that. I'm on there as a cinematographer. I have never gotten someone that hit me up and was like, hey, I found you on ShareGrid. But I went on there, literally a list of cinematographers. I know I just said there's no list of directors anywhere, but I swear to God, every director I have found on that website is also a cinematographer. So it's kind of
so it's kind of hand in hand.
The point being that I went on there and I found a bunch of cinematographers, and I kind of just went one by one looking up their Instagrams and looking at their work and finding them, and I was like, okay, if I like anything that they've shot, I'll just hit them up. Why not?
So it said like Lucas, whatever.
Yeah.
And you would just be like, Instagram.
Yep, Lucas. Pretty much. I would just look up their name and usually they'd come up. Sometimes I wouldn't. I'd just move on to the next. But
it's in their bio, like cinematographer.
Yeah, exactly. That's how I know it.
Camera emoji.
It's because we're all the same. We all say the same stuff.
I've definitely seen that, like cinematographer, camera 100%. Emoji, director, and it's like a movie reel. You're like, it has to be him.
I probably DM like 70.
That's still a lot, dude.
It feels like a lot, but consider like how fast you could do that. It's not that many people. You know, I did it over the span of like a month, and then after that, I didn't really need to do it anymore. Lucas was the first one that gave me a chance, but then I think like maybe one or two other people hit me up. I mean, that's why I say Lucas is like the start of it all, which I think is so funny. And I still work with him occasionally. Yeah, not like all the time.
Shout out Lucas. In those DMs, like, what did you say? Like, hi Lucas, like it's Harrison.
I said basically, hey, really like your work, love what you do, would love to learn from you and come on set and give you whatever skills I have. In that situation, I said, behind the scenes photography, grip work, electric work, whatever you need pretty much. But I basically said, in exchange for giving you my services for free, I'd love to just come see you do what you do.
That's cool, man. So then since then you've been doing it for 3 years?
Yeah, give or take.
Good shit.
And it took like the first 8 months to like get enough work where I could pay for rent, just like stand on my own feet essentially.
I feel like what's tough is like where we grew up and like a lot of people that we knew, I feel like we're doing okay like with their family, you know, like their families were like able to support them. And same with me and you, but I feel like with creative especially, it's like such an advantage because like you have that net of like, I don't have to live paycheck to paycheck. I can go for like freelance creative stuff. Like I don't have to work at a Starbucks.
Yeah.
You know, Zara, which I did a little bit. But
I like have a hard time imagining how it's possible. It's crazy to try and get into that while also working a 9 to 5 or like something that like is taking up all your time. And then what? You only have the weekends to go work freelance. It's just, It's very difficult, I feel like, to do that.
I see that as a barrier for a lot of people.
I think and that's why I'm like, again, I'm incredibly lucky that I didn't have to deal with that. I refuse to ever let myself forget that I had that like advantage,
which
really.
is great,
Like incredibly lucky to have that. I don't even know if I would be doing freelancing if I didn't have that.
Right.
Like I have no idea where I'd be. It's wild.
I feel like the only way I can see someone who doesn't have that safety net at home would be like if they saved enough money in college or something and kind of just went for it and like paid for themselves, you know, took a hit financially for like 4 months or something, but took freelance work like you did and like maybe expedited that process a little bit more, but it is tough to imagine.
I don't know what the solution would be. Like is there some sort of central place where someone can just go find freelance work if they want to get into that? Well, there are job boards for that stuff, but it's like it's just some of it's so flaky and like a lot of it just isn't like when I was starting out, I went on those boards and tried to find stuff, and it's like there's a lot of bad projects on there. First of all, bad people that are trying to take advantage of people. And then also just you get taken advantage of a lot. When you're starting out, it is very easy to get taken advantage of. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the solution is for that.
Yeah. I've thought about that just in general for creative work, like not just like film, but like for music too, like making their own music and stuff like that. You know, so we're both in the entertainment industry.
Yeah.
And my pushing the envelope, like agenda, I guess, is Asian representation. But what's the envelope that you're pushing, like in our industry?
The thing I want to do, like long term, is cinematography. Nothing else. That is like the main goal. You know, what we were talking about before was like, that was just any crew jobs I could get to pay my bills. Ultimately, those are all stepping stones to I want to shoot. I want to be a cinematographer. It is wild to me that throughout high school, throughout college, there was no like, in film school, everyone tells you that when you graduate, at least in my film school, everyone says, when you graduate, don't expect anything, you're not going to work. There's nothing at first. And they're right. The fact that that's just like, everyone's just like, oh, okay, yeah, that's just the case. No, that's terrible. That's not a good thing. That's not great. And maybe that has to be the case. But the fact that none of my educational experiences like gave a mentorship with a cinematographer or like some way to like go on a professional set and go see what the hell was going on and just see what it's all about. That was completely baffling to me. You know, that's supposedly a really great film school, and I'm in no ways bashing Chapman as like a film school. I loved Chapman, and I learned so much, and it prepared me in a lot of different ways. I just think that what I'm getting at is I care about, you know, hopefully when I'm in a position where one day I'm shooting things consistently, doing some sort of mentorship or like something for like, not even Chapman kids or the high school I went to, but anybody, like people that don't have as good opportunities to like go to a film school or just, anything. Like people that come from underprivileged communities or anything. Like it's just wild that doesn't happen. I just think it's so crazy. That's something I really want to push towards, is getting people that want to do this stuff onto film sets and seeing what it's all about and learning from the people who do what they want to do. Like,
I guess the barrier to entry kind of.
I mean, that's just a whole thing with Hollywood. Like everyone knows that like nepotism is a big thing in Hollywood. It's, you know, people are hiring their brothers to do the job. It's like whether they're qualified or not. I don't know if that's necessarily me saying like we need to go against nepotism specifically. It's more just the barrier to entry, I think, is a little ridiculous. I was incredibly lucky to go to I thought was a really good film school, and it does well in the rankings and all that crap. And I went to a really good high school too. Yeah. And I still wasn't able to like go see these things that I wanted to work on. How the hell is someone that doesn't have those opportunities able to do that? It's like, It's insane. I just think it's really crazy.
And it touches on what we just talked about, where it's like also another layer where like you had a home to go back to. Like that's another thing too, right? Like it's like there's so many barriers to entry.
Yeah, totally.
Not literally just like from a financial perspective, having that safety net at home with your parents, but like also being able to go to film school. And like, you're right, it's so hard to, and maybe it is at the fault of like the film school and like stuff like that a little bit, but maybe they've tried that too. And like sets like don't want college kids on their sets or like things like that. There's probably things like that as well.
Yeah, I'm sure there are literal barriers, like maybe they're just not allowed to bring people on and
confidentiality stuff.
Like maybe it's just like they literally can't be there, especially during like COVID, you know. But yeah, I think that's just something I care about, and hopefully when I'm in a position where I'm working on bigger projects and as a cinematographer or someone with higher up position, ideally I would love to start some sort of just mentorship thing where like it can be the most bare bones thing. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. It's just letting them come, like whoever, anybody, like just anybody that is interested in this stuff can come on set, sit there and just watch. That would have been invaluable to me. If a cinematographer had me do that when I was in college, I would have loved it.
It's interesting what you say about nepotism because like that kind of connects to what my pushing the envelope is with like Asian representation because like with nepotism and I understand the notion of in the entertainment industry you want to work with like the people you trust and you know, and like if someone that you wholeheartedly trust recommends a person, like you're more likely to go with that person than this random person. I get that because I'm doing that right now too. But it's like you tend to like, especially historically, like hire the people that you're close with. And like historically, like say if you were white, like you're probably most likely friends with the white person. And then like their family friend is a white person. And like, and it could be any race, but I'm saying specifically entertainment. So that's probably what's caused, you know, that in acting, but also cinematography and film. Like, and I love my job and my coworkers, but like they're mostly white, right? And like now that I'm in there, I'm actually able to recommend, and I don't just force and recommend Asian people or whatever. I have a voice now in the hiring process, and my bosses trust my opinion, right? So it's like that's finally something that's happening now. But like, so our issues are pretty connected. I feel like
I think so
because I can start a mentorship program too. You know, like
totally. That is an even bigger problem to tackle, I feel like, than what I'm saying. I think mine is like, I'm not even saying like hire this college student, you know, or hire this student to like do this job. I'm just saying like, why can't they just come watch? Like, why can't we just get more people like onto these sets so they can see what's going on? They can even find out if they want to do this stuff. It feels like such a gate kept, I don't know. But like it's being gate kept from people. Maybe that's a deeper issue. Maybe that's like, unsadly, like the magic of Hollywood is the fact that it's so exclusive. Yeah, so who knows?
Maybe. I mean, maybe. Because I feel like tech companies do internships and like, like academic internships and stuff. So
this is what I'm saying though.
Like,
Is
we don't
that
have
not
that.
crazy that there's no like, where's the Quentin Tarantino internship? Or like, it's like, where's the,
why haven't we
the
not
Christopher
done that?
Nolan internship? I guess like I'm specifically talking about freelance workers too. But it's more about like the individuals that are like operating on an individual platform. The big cinematographers, they don't have a production company that has internship roles. All they are is just them. They're just the freelance cinematographer or whatever they are.
Are the unions not doing anything?
I don't know. I mean, the union's also they have their own issues too, where it's like innately the union is a gate-kept thing. I don't think they do an internship thing because even to get into them, you need to have all these crazy requirements. Like, I can't imagine they have an internship.
Huh. Well, that's probably why, right? Because a lot of freelancers go into unions.
Yeah, eventually.
Last time we talked, what I remember you saying that you
God,
wanted to
I have
improve.
no idea.
So what you said, it wasn't bad. What you said was the hours.
Oh, yes. Wow, yeah, how could I forget about that? There's no question that a 12-hour day is insane. 12-hour day of labor, of manual labor is like crazy. I don't have a family. Yeah, I don't have a wife. I don't have kids. I don't have a dog. I don't have anything that I have to attend to. And it's still ridiculous. Like, people just kind of look the other way. Like, it's
expected.
It's crazy that I have to tell people outside of film when we're doing a project together that they've never worked in film before. I'm like, no, it's the standard. Yeah. You should be ready to do a 12-hour day. That's crazy. That's psychotic. There was a big push. There was a big social media presence at the time by this like Instagram page that posted like all the crazy stories of just like a lot of people falling asleep at the wheel after leaving work. Crappy, terrible incidents. It's because a lot of either rules are getting broken or just already the rules that are set in stone are just not good. And like the 12-hour day is absurd. There are some sets that like have a strict 8 or 10-hour day rule and like notoriously get done just as much as other sets that do 12-hour days because, you know, they have good rapport and they've worked with each other so much that like, it's like they're super efficient. Yeah, it's just ridiculous. People can't have a proper life on a 12-hour day.
I mean, right now I use it as like not even a flex, but just like, oh, like I'm so busy.
It's crazy that it's created this like grind porn mentality in us. But when I first started, I was proud that like when people would be like, what's your longest day? I'd be like, my longest day was 17 or 18 hours.
exactly
I think
what
mine
I
was
do.
18. And like people used to be so proud of that. No, that is not something you should be proud of. That is terrible. You need to go home and sleep. And like, I've done double dipping.
Double dipping.
Double dipping is the term thrown around on set when you do an overnight set and you go straight into a full 12-hour day on another set the next day. And people would be like, I double dipped on this set. And it's like, that's not funny, dude. You're going to crash behind the wheel of your car. Like that is crazy. The fact that like if we're gonna do overtime, it should be 8 hours, and then like, oh man, we did a 12-hour day. Like that's the crazy thing, that feels more attainable. But anyways, there was a whole strike, and people really pushed for less than a 12-hour day, and they changed nothing. So that was pretty upsetting.
That's something that you'd want to...
Yeah, that is for everyone's health. I feel like I have less say in the whole 12-hour thing, but that is something like I think I probably care about that more. The other thing is important too, and I do want like more people to learn and have more access and stuff, but like it would suck for those people to learn and have access and then get into a film industry where they get worked to the bone 12 hours a day. It's like, it'd be nice if the future generations could work normal hours and see their kids and family and friends and all that stuff.